Welcome to the FreePlay Arcade Podcast. It's Chris Delp joining you without the CEO, Corey. Corey is having a meeting right now, so they asked me to come out live at FreePlay Arlington to film a podcast. So we're opening the arcade, little behind the scenes. So if you hear a little bit of rumbling around, that's because we're preparing to actually live open the arcade. And now, anytime it's thrown to just me without Corey, I immediately want to put the spotlight off of me immediately. So, finally, after a long time, I would like to introduce you to somebody that we've talked about many times. This is one of our star players, one of our up-and-comers, I guess, Dylan Smith. Welcome to the podcast.
Hello. I'm happy to be here.
Geez, how do you describe yourself when people ask you about FreePlay?
I like to stay modest. I tell them, well, I go out and I like to compete in the tournaments, and sometimes I win, a lot of times I don't, but I like to try everything, and I have a lot of fun with it. And
that's absolutely true, and you are quite gifted at many of the games, but in the core, and I feel the same way as you do about it. I just go out and I try, and the games that I'm good at, then I'm good at them, and in the games that I'm not good at, well, generally I just get better because I'm willing to try and willing to with all humility, play and lose and whatever. It just is what it is.
Yeah, exactly. And thankfully we have enough people here who are broadly skilled, whether it's fighting games, puzzle games, general arcade games. Somebody has the skill set to teach you what you don't know.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I love about our community. Let's see, before I get too much further, I should say if you like our podcast, feel free to subscribe and click the bell icon up there to get notifications. They like it when I tell you that. I'm not sure how it actually affects or anything, but they tell me it's good, so go ahead and click that bell icon. You can also subscribe anywhere you are hearing this currently, like iTunes or whatnot. We upload it everywhere, and by we, I mean Matt, and that sounds like an exhausting job, and I'm glad he does it.
Thank you to Matt. And don't forget to smash that like button.
Smash it. Remember, it's odd numbers of times. And also, I'm hearing from reliable sources that it's actually Gabby who actually painstakingly puts it everywhere. Yeah, so thank you to Gabby as well. And also, let's go win that Killer Queen tournament next week.
Woo!
Yeah, so where'd you first hear about FreePlay?
Where did I first hear about it? I think I saw an ad on, it must have been Facebook or some news publication where I just saw a random ad for FreePlay Arlington opening up. It was 2-3 years ago now?
Yeah. It's been a little bit more than 2 years. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I first heard about it there. I didn't know about the Richardson location at all.
Really?
And so I thought, wow, that sounds really neat. I like video games. Maybe I should check it out.
Had you been to an arcade before?
No. Various places where there are arcade games, but certainly not something that touted itself as an arcade.
Like, had you been to Dave & Buster's by?
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Dave & Buster's, Main Event. They have those, but they don't tout themselves necessarily as an arcade.
Right. It's they don't. They feel so tangentially related to what we're doing that I don't even.
Right, I don't consider them in the same breath at all.
Right, yeah. I sometimes I think about maybe I want to go out there and try the latest game, and then I quickly think no, I don't, and then I also I'm here, and this is all I've ever wanted, I guess, in an arcade.
Right.
It's pretty amazing. Do you remember your first trip here?
Yes, I remember it very well. Actually, it was my first date with my now wife. There's a little bit of backstory to that. So we had met probably the week that FreePlay Arlington opened. And we decided we would go on a date on a weekend. And there was a Game-a-Palooza here at FreePlay Arlington. So we decided, okay, we'll go to, there was a horror fest, something at the, I think it was the Irving Convention Center. Mm-hmm. And they have it every year. My wife always goes. We went, and it was mediocre that year, to say the least.
Okay.
We were walking around, and she's just not.
It's just like, none of this scares me at all. I see way scarier things at work.
Yeah, she was just not about it that particular year. So I said, well, hey, there's this place I've been meaning to go to. I saw an ad for it. Do you want to go? And she said, sure, whatever. It was like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Uh-huh. So we drive here, get out, we come in, and there was all sorts of stuff going on. You were running around like a chicken with your head cut off.
Sounds familiar.
It's always familiar to me. And I got to get my hands on these games that I had played like maybe once or twice. I remember growing up, I played Galaga and Dig Dug on my mom's laptop because it had the DOS versions of those games. But I had never played them on legitimate arcade hardware. And it had been ages since I'd played pinball or really any of these things. So it was a very cool experience for me to see it for probably the first time.
That has to be like 2 years ago, right? Something like that?
It was about this time of year, I think.
Right. Well, I do remember the day because I remember having to do a Game of Palooza. I had just gotten hired on to actually do this stuff in a professional way because of Arlington opening. I had done it for free at Richardson for forever, so everybody knew me there. But Arlington was a bit of a different beast, and I remember seeing you guys in, and here's the attractive young couple, and you both seemed willing to play the game. So I instantly was happy to meet you and have that connection. I remember I was doing random game tournaments. It was like a game like Chase the High Score, right?
Right. You had a couple of games up on the TV or something, like a mini chain. So there's a high score on a game, you beat that high score and set a score on something else, and then it's up to somebody else to beat that score, and you would get a little prize, like a water gun or something.
Mm-hmm. And when it comes to like how good you were at the onset, I remember, so Burger Time was one of the games, and I want to say we had somebody there seeding high scores, just putting,
Right, so somebody would see the high score, and I think the score I beat was on Miss Pac-Man or something. It was a lowballed score, and then you were telling me, well, just pick a game, pick anything to set next, and we were standing right next to Burger Time over on this first row, and I had never played it before. I didn't know what I was doing, so I walk up to it, and I set what I thought was okay. I knew I didn't know the game that well, and I could do better probably the second or third time.
Right.
But you were standing there just blown away.
Right. Well, I was impressed by, believing you that it was your first time playing. But I recorded the score and put it up there on the screens, and it wasn't beaten for the entire night. And I remember Matt Johnson, our tech and manager here, was the junior tech at the time, and he's like, that guy's played the game before. He's just kidding me. He plays it all the time. I'm like, no, Matt, I really think he's legit. I think he's never played this game before, and I don't even remember what the score was, and certainly doesn't compare to like Matt DeMoss's 10 million point record or whatever he has for the arcade.
Yeah, not by a stretch.
Right, but like that's a hard game to pick up, and it's. I remember you telling me, so I asked you what games you like, and I guess I'll ask you now, what type of games do you like at FreePlay?
So I typically gravitate towards puzzle games. I grew up playing puzzles, doing jigsaws, Sudoku, Bejeweled, stuff like that for the longest time. And I grew up with those on my consoles when I was at home. So when it came to this place and playing puzzle games that were the same style or some sort of versus mode, it pretty naturally translated across. So I really like playing Puzzle Fighter. I really like playing Magical Drop. I really like playing games of that nature because it tends to be pretty intuitive for me. I pick it up very quickly. On the other hand, I had maybe touched a Street Fighter game once or twice before coming here, and it was kind of intimidating, and I wasn't that about it at first.
I understand.
So I showed up, and what I would really play was a lot of the classic games and puzzle games because that's what I knew I could play. But over time, as I started hanging out here more, and with your help, I started coming out to the Tuesday night fights and everything else, and learning the ropes, and eventually getting to the point where I can hold my own in a tournament setting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I can't even tell you. Do you know how many tournaments you've won here? Because I don't know.
So
a lot.
As far as Tuesday night fights, there's only been 2. Right. I
usually so if you don't know, Tuesday Night Fights is a 2v2 format these days where it's kind of pro-am style. Like I put you up with a professional fighting game player, which is just to say someone who knows how to play the game, and then I pair someone who has no idea what they know. Well, at this point, like you're pretty solidly in the pro status. I've had you play as the amateur a couple of times in games that like you've literally never seen before and you could not have possibly been exposed to. And there's like crazy good players in the house, but generally speaking, you're left to carry the entire team.
Right, and that was my first. The first win I got, that was exactly what I had to do. We got knocked into the losers bracket for Samurai Showdown 5 Special. I hadn't really played the game more than like once before the tournament, and we got knocked into losers first match of the entire night. And my partner had won maybe a round or two the entire time, We had to fight our way up the entire bracket, win the reset, and win grand finals against Jeremy Golden and his partner.
Yeah, Golden is a specialist at these games that no one's ever played before.
Right.
He comes out when there's a game that we've never heard of, and he usually has a very simplistic technique of zoning and pressing one button that is quite effective. He's a savant at just using one button to win fighting game tournaments.
Right, and he's notorious for timing people out as well.
Yes.
And so the reason that one was so satisfying for me was because on the last round of the last game, I timed him out to win with barely more than enough health to take the win.
I may have done that to Beltran many times on purpose.
Well, it's Beltran.
Well, I just like watching Sagat's stupid face.
Of course.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love that?
Let's see. I've seen you playing in pinball tournaments of late. How was that?
Oh my gosh. So lately, I've been feeling a lot more solid playing pinball because I've been coming out to the Monday night pinball tournaments, and it's just been. I started out and I wouldn't keep a ball up for more than a minute, maybe if I was lucky. Now I can actually put up a solid score even without ball saves or extra balls or anything going. And I'm starting to pick up a lot more of the general techniques and strategies that you need to just prevent random drains. Right. So between shoving the table as it hits the slings, or dead drops, or flipping the flipper just as it hits the paddle to stop the ball, stuff like that. Knowing when to hit the ball. Soft catch. That's right. Various things like that have helped me just be, one, more patient with the game, and two, hit the shots I need to shoot. Because for the longest time, I would get up there and I would just hit the paddle as soon as the ball was there. And it works.
If you're a novice at pinball, just swinging freely like it's a home run derby is the exact wrong thing you should be doing at pinball if you want to succeed ultimately. You want to be able to control the ball first, then you want to be able to aim it well. But if you miss, then you want to control it again, and then you want to aim it again.
Right, and so it
I
worked
still haven't got the aim part right, by the way.
Yeah, I still struggle with that too.
Yeah.
But it worked for games like Family Guy, which we don't play in the tournaments, thankfully. But
it just takes too long. That's the reason.
Exactly. But so as I've been competing in these tournaments and doing well against really good players, it's made me understand that no, I do have a really good chance to maybe win at some point. Because I've gotten close, and generally there are just opportunities where I make a mistake, or I should have done something, and I made a mistake, really.
So let's go over it briefly. Tuesday Night Fights, you said you've won twice.
Right.
Let's see, the Arcade High Score Championship, you've won that infinite times? I don't even...
I couldn't count, yeah.
A lot. So that's where we pick one random game on the floor, like perhaps Burger Time, which I don't think you won Burger Time because Matt DeMoss had in the millions. But other than that, just a random one, you win it pretty routinely. Yeah. Have you won the pinball one yet? I don't think so.
I've gotten extremely close before.
Did you get Black Knight?
No, I did not.
Okay.
I think you beat me on that.
All right.
And I think so did Matt Johnson.
Okay.
I got the closest I got, I think, was on it was Attack from Mars. Mm-hmm. And I was only barely beaten by one other person who doesn't come here anymore. So
close on the Pinball Monthly. Yes, 1 million times on the Arcade Monthly. 2 times on the Tuesday Night Fights. What else do we do? Puzzle Night.
Night.
More than we can count.
Yeah. Actually, the first Puzzle Night I came to, I won, because the first one I came to was on Magical Drop 2.
Oh man.
I had never seen the game before, never played it. Managed to win.
Right. Yeah.
It worked out.
No, I know how that goes. It's I've had that story a few times. I feel like, you and me and Chris Wilson. There's a few of us like arcade general players that kind of fall into this unique category of we're pretty good at every game. We're actually not experts at every game. People always get that misconception that like you're just perfect at every game. Like no, we're willing to try anything and willing to fail at anything, and general skill just sort of overcomes at the end. But
especially because we have so many of the fundamentals down to learning these games and playing them. The strategy takes a lot less time to develop.
Yeah. I feel like I'm myself, I feel like I'm really good at zoning in games.
Yeah.
Probably from a background in just playing Ms. Pac-Man, like and having to zone out the ghosts over and over, or play as they tried to zone me out is more attuned to it all. But like
Right.
I'm really good at zoning, so that translates to Killer Queen. That translates to my fighting games. That translates to pinball in a way, like figuring out where the ball is coming from and how to react to it before it ever gets there. Means I don't really need to touch the machine all that much to control the shots very well. So. It all works together, and you've won quite a bit. Pinball Monday being like one of the few that you haven't won. In that one, you got second, a month and a half ago.
Yep.
I think it's a matter of time before you win one of those. And I think you're already one of the best pinball players in the area, which is going to surprise exactly nobody locally. It's crazy because like I know the people out there watching, you're either a part of the FreePlay scene, in which case you absolutely know who Dylan is, or you are not part of the FreePlay scene, in which case you have no idea who this person is we're talking to, but he is quite good at Mini. So I'm going to give you a question that I get all the time that is not got a good answer, but what's your favorite game?
Ooh, that doesn't have an easy answer. I guess as far as games that I've played on the FreePlay floor, my favorite to play with or without other people is probably Magical Drop. Honestly.
3?
Yeah.
I'm assuming? Yeah.
3, definitely.
Yeah.
2 has some weird stuff to it, but 3...
You can always play those characters from 2 and 3 if you want.
Yeah, exactly. But it's...
Magical Drop is a puzzle game on the Neo Geo, if you are not familiar. And it's kind of a similar in style to Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo.
Similar, but...
But also... Just in the head-to-head setup with also you pick your own character and they have slight character variations.
Right.
That's where the similarities end. Well, I suppose you're matching colored blocks in some way, in which almost every puzzle game has you doing that.
Right. It follows the match 3 in a row and you pop the thing.
Yes. Yeah, so that's as good of an answer as any. Mine's Ms. Pac-Man, so...
Of course.
I mean... Everybody gets disappointed. Like, you know, people don't. I don't know. They think they want it. I think they want you to have a bias towards a certain game or whatever. And
sure. Well, because they have their favorite, and they want to hear that one listed off.
Well,
certainly.
Or they want to hear why you don't like their favorite.
Yeah.
But like you know, I'm here. I'm here all the time. I love a lot of these games, and I'm super willing to play. Favorite new game?
Favorite new game? Ooh. I actually really like the Black Knight Sword of Rage pinball table.
Yeah?
That's probably my favorite of the most recent ones that I've played. Aside from, I really like Cosmotrons.
Mm-hmm.
I really like Killer Queen.
Mm-hmm.
I think as far as, I think Black Knight has been my favorite lately.
It's a good one. It's a good one. Have you played Jurassic Park yet?
No, I haven't.
Yeah, it's out there at FreePlay Richardson right now. I'm sure you'll see it soon enough. How about a favorite tournament memory? Does anything come to mind?
Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Sam show against Jeremy Golden again.
Oh,
honestly,
just timing him out?
It was timing him out, and then everything that came afterwards. Because I still remember him standing up. He threw his hat on the ground, which was really out of character for him.
Yes.
Never seen him get upset like that. So he went and he sat in the bar, and he was having some water. And I remember Ed Bowie walked up to him and said something. Right, because he could tell he was upset. He comes over to me and goes, "Man, I'm not upset anymore. Congrats."
Yeah.
It was one of those things that I could tell he got kind of upset about it, but that he immediately jumped back to, "No, I'm happy you won."
Yeah, he's always been a great guy.
Very humble.
I think that's his time to win, is when we have a random game like that.
Absolutely.
So
almost every time, especially these random Neo Geo games.
Yeah. So he came to win that one for sure. I think that might have been his fifth, and now he's got like 7 or 8 championships. But
oh, absolutely. He's got way more than me.
That was his big 5th championship that he was going to have a big celebration and do a dance for, and it just got ruined. So the first time I believe I mentioned you was in regards to Spring Series 2018, our preview podcast for that. I think we had Chris Wilson on. And I definitely said that like you had appeared on the scene, and that you had not won a tournament yet, and that I was very much predicting that you would be walking away as Spring Series champion. And sure enough, you did. You won Spring Series. Now, you won the Ready Player One tournament. I remember. Right. Did you win any of the others?
I think I came in top 3 for several. I know I believe it was 2nd or 3rd for Mario Bros. 2nd or 3rd for a couple of the others.
Yeah, Pac-Man and Rampart. You did fine in
Rampart
all
was
those.
tough. Yeah, because Toya actually knocked me out.
That's my favorite.
Yes.
That's my favorite memory of you in tournament is you going against I believe it's Daniel Wilson.
Yes, it was Daniel and Toya, and Daniel kept focusing on me.
Daniel Wilson might as well be on this podcast as well. Like he is that good of a player. He's one of the top general arcade players that I've ever seen, as well as Dylan is. And Toya is not. She commentates for us. She plays in anything that we ask her to, and she's great. She's a great person, and that's the spirit that I like to imbue everything with.
Yeah.
And she's, surrounded literally by two of the greatest players of all time at FreePlay. And take it away. So
Rampart has an interesting way of leveling the playing field. And certainly Toya understands how to play Rampart. But Daniel was so focused on trying to take me out because he knew I was a threat, certainly. And so I was stuck in this weird position where I'm getting targeted by both people.
Yeah,
and I can't spread enough fire on either of them to do any damage.
Rampart is basically a 3-player tower defense game, the original tower defense game. And,
right. And so there's a couple phases where you shoot at the other player's walls and they have to rebuild a full structure in order to keep their castles and their cannons up. And you have to rebuild during that, in between attacks. And if you don't do that, then you lose. Well, I was stuck constantly rebuilding all of my stuff because all of my walls were getting knocked down.
Right.
I would shoot 1 or 2 times on their stuff, and then they would immediately have all of their stuff back.
Right.
And more cannons and more damage. And so I couldn't do enough to either of them to really cause any damage that once I was out of the picture, it didn't take much effort for Toya to take down Daniel down.
Well, so I remember it well. It's just a crazy thing.
Didn't she win by score?
She won by score, and I was on commentary, and neither you nor Daniel took a single shot at Toya the whole time. And everybody else who was on commentary with me was appalled at the strategy of, like, she could eventually win. And I was like, yeah, I completely support their strategy. Like, that's the biggest threat you could possibly imagine across from you. And Toya. Like, you'll deal with Toya if you can get past the other person.
Right.
But, like, there's no reason to waste any resources on Toya unless you absolutely have to, or she's the only option because, she's good enough to be there, but, like, she's not going to beat you both by herself until, you guys cancel each other out and she hit the start button one last time and that's it. She won. And it was a great moment. I know it's one that she will never forget. But I want to go back to Spring Series Ready Player One tournament. It was right as the release of the movie for Ready Player One. Alamo Drafthouse Richardson had given us it was a private screening for the winner of the tournament and the entire your 40 closest friends or something like that.
Right.
Is that 40?
Yes. Well, it was initially 20, but then they gave us a bigger theater.
Oh, yes. Okay, so it was on Black Knight. No, I'm sorry, not Black Knight. Black Tiger. Black Tiger.
Oh, that's right. Black Tiger.
It was all the games featured from the book because, of course, as you know, no games were actually featured in the movie. But but we did it on the book itself, and it was a multi-game tournament. Let's see. Do you remember the games?
So Black Tiger, I remember. I think Tempest. Was Tempest a part of it?
Maybe there were 10.
So there were 10 games.
Yeah.
It was your highest score across however many you would pick, like the top 3 or something.
I did a track system. I boiled it down to a way in which it would be balanced out, so each game would be weighted equally. You prevailed pretty emphatically. I remember.
I did terribly on Black Tiger, though. I was not good at that game.
You did enough to qualify for the finals, and then you managed to win. So. What did it feel like to be Spring Series champion?
It was awesome. Oh my gosh. Especially with the prize I got. It's always worth competing, even if I don't win, right? I always have such a good time. And to actually succeed there was just awesome. It was an awesome experience.
Yeah, Spring Series, sorry if I hadn't clarified already, that's our annual event where we generally don't do cash prizes. So all these puzzle night victories and whatever, they're more honorary in nature. We'll have 20, 30, 40, maybe 70 if the Super Turbo is the game come out and play with us. But it's all for a title belt or a giant pinball or something like that. It's an honorary prize. Spring Series being the exception. There is an entry fee. There is a cash prize, or in this case, was there any cash prize involved at all?
Not for the Ready Player One tournament. It was the tournaments that followed.
Yeah, so
because this was the first
was week
of
zero,
the gauntlet.
Yeah, because they had added it on. Alamo had actually sponsored it.
Right.
So that was it. Now, you win the tournament. You win a theater of 20, and then suddenly it becomes 40. How do you feel a theater, or do you feel like, what was your strategy now? Now you've got your own private screening of Ready Player One, the movie that not everybody yet knows hates arcade games.
Right.
How do you deal with it?
I, of course, invited my close friends who are in the area. I wasn't going to invite somebody from 3 hours out of town to come up, but my brother did end up showing up along with almost everybody else that I invited. And I realized I don't have enough people to fill that many seats, especially when they upped the size of the theater. So I said, well, I know all these people at the arcade, and I really like all of them, so I'll just invite them too. So I made a post on the community group and said, hey, if you want to come to this screening, send me a message, and we should be able to get everybody in. And so it was about half and half between arcade folks that were just kind of invited and came, and the people that I personally invited, and it was such a cool experience.
Yeah, I'm glad you chose to do it that way. I remember the beta test of the FreePlay Richardson. We ended up with a private screening of War Games, where it was literally just me and Sarah, and everybody else was invited, but no one else showed up because everybody was exhausted from playing arcade games. And apparently there was a legendary bathroom explosion that you can listen about on one of our previous podcasts in our video section. But the employees didn't show up. The beta testers didn't know what to do with that night. So it ended up just being me and Sarah alone in the Alamo Drafthouse Theater, which was its own interesting experience. But I like the idea that you had your friends, you had your family, and then you got to be king for a day as you had half the Free Play Arcade community in there with you as well.
Right. It was such a cool experience. Especially, I love that we managed to get a big group photo after it as well. In front of the, what was it, a King Kong thing? It was like a giant hand.
Oh, that's the hand from Iron Giant.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Yeah, that's one of the staples there. So you're quite good at the arcade games here, and we have a few minutes left. So I've got the next 3 minutes. I want to hear not how many. Name the games that you have an arcade record on. Go.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Where do I start? I know I have most of the times on San Francisco Rush the Rock. I got the high score on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. I've got it on most of the bullet hells, so Mushi, Hima, whatever, behind me. The one that we had on it beforehand. I've got Magical Drop 3, Magical Drop 2. I've got...
All check out.
Okay, let's see. There's a ton of Neo Geo titles. What do I have? Dang, it's really hard to keep track, especially when it's not on the floor in front of me. I know I got...
You can't even name the names. Come on now.
Let's see. I definitely have Landmaker, but I didn't post it on there yet. What else?
So that's not on my list.
It's not on your list,
As you
right.
said, not posted yet.
Let's see. Dang, where do I go with this? I feel like I have to look around. Let's see. I think I have Carnival.
Carnival. Yes, you do. 6.
Okay. No, I lost Discs of Tron because one of the Japanese guys.
No.
James
Chen, legendary commentator.
That's right.
Beat your Discs of Tron
because it was around.
By the way,
Spring
I
Series.
pulled him off of that game before he finished, so he could go back to commentate. He could have gone much further.
Yeah, very.
Yeah. Legit Discs of Tron player there, James Chen.
Yes.
And free play arcade record holder.
Let's see. I definitely have Roadrunner.
You do.
I have one of the Smash TV scores.
You do.
I have Raiden 2. Right?
Maybe.
One of the Raiden 2 scores.
Let's assume so.
Okay.
If so, that's 9.
Let's see.
That's correct.
Mr. Do's Wild Ride.
Correct.
Let's see. I don't hold really any of the classics like Galaga or Ms. Pac.
I believe Austin Smith has the Galaga one, and Ms. Pac is held by... It's not Jagger anymore because someone traveled out from... Man, We should look it up later. But someone traveled from out of state just to beat the Ms. Pack record that we had and win our monthly arcade, like.
Oh my gosh, it was incredible.
Just for the $20 in pizza, flew
Worth
out
it.
from wherever, and yes, worth it. It was awesome. Kill
see.
screen the game.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that was the coolest thing. Let's see. There was also. I just had it on the tip of my tongue. Cannot remember now.
All right.
But I got a 10th of them maybe.
So you got 10 games that you named. In fact, you are the FreePlay champion of 79 different games.
Right. Not to count individual scores within that.
Correct. That's just counting each individual game, not saying you have 5 tracks on whatever game.
Right.
Nah, some of the highlights, we have Vindicator, Stun Runner, Space Invaders Deluxe, a cabinet that I won, by the way.
Right.
Smash TV, as you pointed out, doubles with myself. Sky Cursor, a personal favorite of mine. Missile Command. Your Missile Command record needs to go down.
I agree.
Why? Because it is a delight to watch a great Missile Command player. And you and I are arcade generalists. We are not overwhelmingly good at anything. Maybe a couple, right? I say that, and like clearly you have the world record on Big Buck Hunter Pro. Congratulations on that. That's really your main claim to fame right there.
Yes,
Big Buck Hunter Pro.
Definitely love that game.
But I feel like somebody can come in and just really put a show on Missile Command, and when they do, you and I will both be there with our lighters up, ready to film that one.
Completely, because that is such a cool game to see go longer than a minute.
Yeah. Enigma 2. You got the Frogger record? How do you have the Frogger record?
Oh my gosh. The Frogger record took me forever. But I did it during the monthly score competition for it.
Okay.
Because I kept trying, and it took me forever to get over, I think it was like 50,000 or something. But when I finally broke it, I kept going.
Yeah.
And it was great.
Atari Force Liberator, a game I had never heard of before it hit the FreePlay floor, and there's plenty of those here. But one thing to note about that is you learned that game, and we had you film it as the player for our Atari Force Liberator Game of the Week. So if you go back in our videos and check out Atari Force Liberator, that's actually Dylan playing before any Spring Series championships or anything else.
Yeah. It's such a cool game. It's a different take on Missile Command, and I had never heard of it before either. But such a cool experience.
Yeah, so 79 different games. Let's see. You haven't won. You don't have the high score on any games that start with the letter I, K, N, Q, U, W, X, Y, or Z. So get on Xevious, and hopefully we can find you a Zybots. But other than that, you have everything else. And it took me about 30 minutes of writing before I got to the A's on the list because you have 2 Megatech wins. I don't even want to count how many Neo Geos. And
a couple play choice,
3
right?
play choice 10s and 2 pinballs. Teed Off and Black Knight Sword of Rage.
Oh yeah. Well, actually, my Black Knight score just got beat the other day. So
breaking news.
There's that. I do keep track of it.
Yeah, that's true. No, you're super helpful within the community as far as helping track things like Hall of Fame points, which, by the way, also Hall of Fame champion. So it's. I guess tell us about the FreePlay Hall of Fame and what it means to you.
Okay, so the Hall of Fame is it keeps track of participation throughout the year, whether it's in Tuesday night fights, puzzle nights, tournaments, events, anything that goes on. There's a record of it generally. If you compete, if you arrive, if you're there, and you do something significant, if you're active on the Facebook group and you post on the FreePlay Hops, the Close Crop, any of that stuff, you have points.
Yeah, if you want to see any of this, go to freeplayhof.com. That'll link you to our Facebook community group where everything is sort of based out of, and yeah, that's where the Hall of Fame is.
Right, and so when I first started coming to FreePlay, I really focused on getting high scores because I thought that was what I was good at. I wasn't super familiar with fighting games, and so I was going to stake my claim on that and go from there. And every month, there was a Hall of Fame point boost that you would get from however many high scores you had.
Right.
And that would all tallied up towards the end of the year, where it's basically just a ranking of who, I guess, participated the most. And so...
yeah, that's the idea, is just to have people ranked, but also, like, if you just want to play in all the events, you're going to do much better than if you just, like, I'm really good at this fighting game, so I'm going to hit every single one of those fighting game events. Or I'm really good at pinball, so I'll only hit the pinball games. That'll get you so far if you're really good, but what'll really get you far is just trying everything. Lo and behold, someone would try and start winning everything.
Right. And so as I played more and I participated more, that Hall of Fame number went way up. And so while the high score points were really nice, it was everything else that really put it above and beyond. And I remember by the time I was aware of it, I had tallied up all of my points, all of the points I could get through the end of the year, or through when the cutoff was, and I realized I could go from, like, I think 12th or 10th or something up to 3rd.
Uh-huh.
And so I made a point to show up to everything I could, do as well as I could on certain games, certain tournaments. And so I had to win the puzzle night that month. I had to show up to TNF. I had to do all this stuff just to make it to 3rd, and I managed to do that.
Right.
And so after that, I made it a point to try and stay either at the top or towards the top.
Yes. Season 1, we reset it every year. Season 1 champion was Doug Galt. Season 2 champion was Chase Cole by like a country mile.
Oh, yeah. He had a ton.
But I think that was the one where you came from behind and got 3rd.
Yes.
And then season 3, that was you all alone. Maybe a bigger margin than Chase. I don't know. It was quite large.
It was pretty significant from 1st to 2nd.
And currently you're in 1st place. Although it's you have some competition in another big buck hunter player, Ray Upshaw.
But he's been missing from the scene for long enough that I've been able to.
Yeah, you've caught him.
Way ahead.
You've caught him, and he's literally at the Big Buck Hunter World Championships, which won't change the fact that you're the Big Buck Hunter Pro World Record holder.
Can't take that from me. Well, he can. But
can he?
Yeah.
Can he?
Oh, he can, but he's going to have to actually do it, which is a different question.
Yeah. So we'll be seeing more of Dylan coming up. You just filmed some long plays, and I wouldn't be surprised to see us team up and do some long plays. You do commentary for us on our Twitch feed, and which does come over onto YouTube on occasion. I wouldn't be surprised if you've already been featured as a commentator on one of our YouTube live broadcasts. So more Dylan coming up soon. It's good to have you out here. Good to finally get you on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here.
Let's see. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all of our stuff. We have Gabby puts us everywhere, so wherever you want to go. Anything else I need to mention, Matt?
Don't forget the little bell icon so you get notifications.
Right, but if you already hit it once, you need to hit it twice because...
Twice after the first time.
Make sure it's active.
That way it's red and not
gray. That's what
gray.
actually gets me paid. So until then, until next time, this is Chris Delp, the community liaison of FreePlay Arcade, along with the FreePlay Big Buck Hunter champion, Dylan Smith.
Thanks for having me.
Love you guys. Bye.